Okay, happy Wednesday, children. I want to do a couple things today. The World War II Homefront questions, I'm going to go over them with you. Then I'm going to announce the winner of the stock market game. We'll figure that out at some point, how to award the winner. And there's going to be a Survey Monkey on here for you. Just one question about dropping the atomic bomb. So let's do this together. Homefront questions. What event brought us into the war? Obviously, that's the attack on Pearl Harbor. What were many Americans afraid the Japanese could do? They were afraid the Japanese could invade the United States and attack us on our homeland. What types of non traditional jobs did women do during the war? They worked as welders, they worked as riveters, obviously. Any type of factory position. The article mentioned several. They worked in steel mills, just all types of places that you typically would not have seen women before this. The nickname for women who went to war were Rosie the Riveters. How many women entered the workforce? I believe it's around 6.5 million, is what they show. Executive Order 9066 created the internment camps and ordered the Japanese into them. Number 7, the answer really should be racism, but the answer is that they were paranoid, they were afraid, worried that these Japanese Americans would aid the Japanese in an attack. What did some Major League Baseball players do to help the war effort? Well, some of them volunteered and went around and sold war bonds and did things like that. But others, like Bob Feller, who was one of my favorite Cleveland Indians players, he actually lost 3 or 4 years to his career because he went and fought, and he didn't want to sell war bonds. He didn't want to do autographs. He wanted to fight for his country. The newsreel is, and this is misspelled. The newsreel is played before movies and it gives you information. It's just like the news. At the time, they didn't really have television. It was invented, but nobody really owned one, and there were no broadcasting stations. So you got your information about what was going on through the war from the newspaper, uh, from the radio, but the only way you were going to see live video of what was going on was to go to the movies and watch the newsreel. Many of the movies about it this time were about the war, about our enemies being bad. They were propaganda pieces to get people to join, people to fight. What type of music began appearing on the radio during the war? This would be pro-war music. I'd have to look at the article myself. That one I'll have to look up myself. Lots of famous journalists reported about the war on the radio. People like Walter Cronkite and others who would become famous. I'd actually have to go back and look this up. I know it was several million. Taxes were increased to pay for the war, sales of war bonds. Okay, you needed stamps to purchase gasoline, milk, meat, cheese, eggs, all kinds of things. And what types of goods were not produced to conserve the resources? Those would have been things like automobiles, things that we didn't absolutely need. All right, very good. Enough of that. Let's put that away. And so, first period's winner was Lexi Blakeman. Lexi had a profit of $717. The people who did well bought Amazon. Amazon went through the roof from 1901 to 2385. The other thing that was good to have was any type of health company or company dealing with the pandemic. So Teladoc went up by over $30 a share. That was a good one to have. Gilead Sciences went up a little bit for her. So that's what she got there. In period number 2, Ava Hallis won with a profit of $1,946. Once again, another Amazon purchaser which really did most of the damage for her. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like that pretty much did most of it for her. She had bought 3 shares, so that really had helped. Okay. Next up, in my last period class, Ben Everly wins with 832.76 as a total profit. Once again, another purchaser of Amazon, which did really well for him. Also a surgical stock. And in period 4, it's Camille Zetner with 1369.34. And I believe Camille won for the entire group. 1369, I believe, is the highest amount. Let me double check. Certainly is, and Camille's our big winner for all of the classes. So make sure you adjust anything you need on your reading questions and take the SurveyMonkey test.